What's going on, everybody? Welcome into Blazers Uprise Live here on a Thursday. Today, we got 6 games for picks against the spread. We've already picked one of them, and we're also going to have a conversation about benching Jerami Grant. The Blazers play the Thunder tomorrow. We'll preview that game a little bit, and that's going to be our live stream for today. Hopefully, all of you are enjoying your week. Hopefully, you're having a good Thursday. Now, with one game already underway, we already picked it. Before we jump into those picks, let's take a look at the picks against the spread standings powered by BetUS. Chat continues to lead picks, and look at the day that we had on Monday. 73 and 31 collectively. Probably our best day of the season. And look at the beautiful double downs. Javon is the only person to lose a double down. He messed up the potential 13-0 double down day. Look at all those W's. We love to see it. Crushables, 7-1, only 3 games back of Chat. Chat is getting closer and closer to falling out of that top spot. Crushables has been killing it, or should I say crushing it. And everybody was over 500, except for Eric, who's at 500 at 4-4, and Steven, who was 3-5. We had 8-0 days from both Aeromancer and Zach. So an absolutely phenomenal picks against the spread day for us on Monday. We'll see if we can keep it up. We're within 100 games below 500. We're going to try and catch 500 by the end of the year, and that is the standings. Let's take a look at game number 1. This game tipping off about right now. It's on TNT, so it tips off at normal start times instead of 10 minutes late. The Celtics are hosting the 76ers. The Celtics are 18-point home favorites. Injuries in this game. Out for the Sixers, Jared McCain, Tyrese Maxey, Kyle Lowry, Eric Gordon, and Joel Embiid. And then questionable is Paul George and Justin Edwards. I know that there's an update on that, so please let me know. And then for the Celtics, earlier questionable, Drew Holiday, Kristaps Porzingis, Jason Tatum. If somebody please has an update, please let me know in the chat if you have an update on the injury report for this game. Chat, we got your pull up. I mean, we're just kind of I don't know. The injury report is never up to date anymore, unfortunately. I am just going to take the Celtics. I don't think the Sixers, with as bad as they've been, can keep it within 14 points, even if the Celtics are missing those players. So I'm going to go with Boston. Hopefully we have Arrow to put the picks in the chat. I had an extra E on the end of 76ers. Oh, well. And by the way, picks for the first game while we await these. Magic was Arrow, Zach. The poll's hiding the picks. There we go. Magic was myself, Arrow, Zach, Jackson, Crushables, 503, Connor, and Chat. And then Bulls was Eric, Brendan, Steven, Javon. And I think we're missing somebody there, but those are the picks. So we got Sixers for Javon. Can somebody tag Arrow, or Javon, can you post the picks? All right. And by the way, if you're new to this, we pick games and then we talk about the topics. So if you're looking for Jerami Grant topic, if you're watching back after the fact, skip past the part with all the graphics. All right. Or you can watch our picks and see how good or bad we do. We got Connor going Celtics. Javon went Sixers. I guess I got to pull up Discord and put in the picks. Let's see. We got Celtics for Connor, Celtics for Trevin. Trevin, can you post the picks? Tatum is playing? Okay. Cool. Yeah, he rested against us. He ducked us. Unfortunately, we gave up a historic shooting night to Derek White and Peyton Pritchard. Trevin, Celtics, somebody please post the picks. I would greatly appreciate that. I'm looking at Crushable's picks from from last stream. All right. A little confusing. All right. We got Celtics for Arrow. We got Celtics for 503, Celtics for Steven. A lot of Celtics love. Eric, thank you, Trevin. Appreciate you, brother. We got Celtics for Jackson. We got Celtics for Brendan. And then Crushables, he's been on a hot streak. He's trying to catch Chat. He's going to go with the Sixers. Chat right now, Crushables isn't going to be able to get a game on them because they're also going Sixers, 57% of the vote. And then we have Zach going with the Celtics as well, making this a 10v3 in favor of the Celtics. If you want to double down on this game, let me know right now. All right. These other games tipping off 4:40, so we can wait on double downs. We got 4 more games left to get through. Hopefully we get through them quick. We got the Hawks hosting the Pacers. The Hawks 1-point home favorites. Injuries for this game. Out for the Pacers, Isaiah Jackson, and then questionable. Once again, injury report not up to date. Questionable, Benedict Mathurin and Tyrese Halliburton. Of course, they're big names, so please let me know. And then on the Hawks injury report, out for the Hawks, Kobe Buffkin, Jalen Johnson, Vic Krejci, and Larry Nance Jr. So if we have an update, which I'm sure we do, on Halliburton and Mathurin, I think Halliburton's probably out because this spread moved in the Hawks' favor. So chat, there's your poll. I hate picking Hawks games. I can never pick them correctly. I guess... I don't know, man. I don't even know who's playing. We got Pacers. Oh, both are out. You got Siakam, you got Turner, you got Nembhard, my guy. I'm going to go... I hate picking Hawks games. I'm going to go with the Pacers. We got Hawks for Eric, Steven, Crushables. And then Pacers for Arrow, Zach, Jackson, 503. Brendan. We got Hawks for Javon, Hawks for Trevin. And Connor going Hawks. And chat is going to go Pacers, 60% of the vote, making that a 7v6 in favor of the Pacers. Look, we almost had a top row versus a bottom row. Almost had a top row versus a bottom row. Brendan and Javon switching up on us. All right, game number 3. We got the Brooklyn Nets hosting the Golden State Warriors. The Warriors 11-point road favorites. Out for the Warriors, Jonathan Kuminga. Out for the Nets, DeAnthony Melton and Noah Clowney. So a straightforward injury report. Javon, appreciate it. Chat, there is your poll. And alrighty, let's get it rolling. Like I said, 2 more games after this one. We got one 5 p.m. tip-off, 5:10 p.m. tip-off technically, and then one 7 p.m. tip-off. Lakers Knicks is the last game. That's going to be a good one. We got Nets for Arrow and Zach. We got Nets for Javon. I'm going to go Warriors. I've been rolling Warriors ever since they got Jimmy Butler. They've come through for me consistently, so not going to let up now. Chat right now loving themselves some Golden State Warriors as well. We got Warriors for Eric Jackson Crushables. .503 Brendan and Steven. Warriors for Trevin. And we're waiting on Connor and chat. I will give you until Connor's pick to vote. Because right now it's looking like a guaranteed double down 100% of 6 votes. But you know how Connor does it. He likes to keep us waiting. It's his favorite pastime. He loves everything going off of his time. I love giving Connor crap. All right, we got Warriors, 88% of the vote. And the song ends when this game ends. All right, 10v3 in favor of the Warriors. Game number 4, we have the New Orleans Pelicans hosting the Houston Rockets. The Rockets, 4-point road favorites. Out for the Rockets, Fred VanVleet. Out for the Pelicans, DeJounte Murray, Brandon Boston, and Herb Jones. All right, chat, there is your poll. I'm going to go Rockets. We got Pelicans for Zach Crushable Steven. Rockets for Connor and Javon. Of course, Zion Williamson's been playing great basketball for the Pelicans, and he's actually playing right now. Completely changes that team, which makes this a more difficult pick for me than you would think. We got Rockets for Eric Arrow Jackson, as well as 503 and Brendan. All right. I missed the old Den Tori was streaming from. Too much light. Too much light, huh? We got Rockets for Trevin. We got Rockets for chat. Outdoing the Warriors vote because we got 9 out of 10. 9 out of 10. I don't know why I made it 89% Rockets. That doesn't even make sense out of 10 votes. But YouTube gonna YouTube. All right. So we got Rockets for chat. Rockets for Trevin. Another 10v3. Lots of 10v3s today, man. Final game of the day. This is going to be a great game nationally televised. You got the Lakers hosting the Knicks. The Lakers 2-point home favorites. Out for the Knicks, Ariel Hukporti. And then questionable is OG Anunoby and Precious Achiuwa. Then out for the Lakers, Maxi Kleba, Markieff, Morris, Rui Hachimura, and Jordan Goodwin. I assume, I don't know, this spread has moved in the Knicks' favor. It was 3.5, now it's 2, so do with that information what you want with OG Anunoby questionable. Alrighty. I'm going to roll with the Lakers. We got Lakers for Eric and Brendan. We got Knicks for Arrow Zach Jackson. Crushables, 503 Steven. Lakers for Javon and Connor. We got a pretty split vote here, which is great. It looks like chat is going to go Lakers. And Trevin is going to go Lakers, making this a 7v6 in favor of the Los Angeles Lakers. Before we get to double downs, let me decide what I want to do here. Don't like that game. Warriors, Lakers. All right, double downs. I'm going to double down on the Golden State Warriors. Chat's double down was the Houston Rockets. And then the rest of the picks, please post in the chat. I think Trevin's trying to use the new tool Arrow build, but it's slowing us down right now. All right, we got Hawks for Javon. Lots of Warriors here. We got Warriors for Steven Jackson Brendan. Rockets for 503 and Eric. Crushables going Hawks. Zach going Celtics. Arrow going Knicks. Trevin went Warriors. And Connor went Hawks. So, double downs. We got 3 on the Hawks, Javon, Crushables, Connor. We got 5 on the Warriors, myself, Trevin, Jackson, Steven, and Brendan. We got 3 on the Rockets, 503, Chat, and Eric. We got Arrowmancer by himself on the Knicks, and we got Zach by himself on the Celtics. That concludes picks against the spread. Thank you for your participation. Alrighty. So we're going to have a conversation about Jerami Grant, all right? Just a quick little conversation about what the Blazers should do with Jerami Grant and what it would mean if they make the right decision regarding Jerami Grant when he returns. So the Blazers have an injury report for tomorrow. Denny Avdia is questionable, and I forget who the other player that was questionable was. Delano Banton is out due to personal reasons. Hopefully everything's all right there. Jerami Grant is questionable with right knee tendonitis. So Avdia and Grant questionable. Okay, obviously if Avdia is out, Grant's going to start in his place. But if the Blazers are healthy, okay, it is my opinion that it is truly time for them to start bringing Jerami Grant off the bench. And there is absolutely no way around it anymore. Of course, Jerami Grant was starting for in place of Shaedon Sharpe, essentially, or in place of Scoot Henderson, right? The Blazers were starting that 3-forward lineup with a big and with Anthony Simons. With Grant getting hurt, Sharpe took his place in the starting lineup and has been playing fantastic basketball. Such good basketball that, in my opinion, you can't take him out of the starting lineup at this point. You can't do it. You cannot do it. They're not going to bench Anthony Simons. So if Grant's going to start, the most likely person he'd start over is Shaedon Sharpe, which is an absolute mistake, all right? And then he can't start over Tamani, all-defensive player Tamani Kamara, and he's not going to start over Denny Avdia. Denny Avdia has been better than him this year. Of course, Chauncey could decide to do whatever, so who knows, but logically speaking, there is really no room left in the starting lineup for Jerami Grant. Now, what would it mean for the Blazers to actually make the decision to bring Jerami Grant off the bench? All right, what would it mean? It would mean that they're finally past the politics of starting Jerami Grant. They're finally past the notion that they need to start him to get good trade value for him. They're finally past the notion that, oh, because we're paying him so much money, he has to start. Right? Essentially, it would be the Blazers biting the bullet and bringing him off the bench. I don't think at this point bringing him off the bench is going to hurt his trade value any more than he's already hurt his trade value by starting all season. So essentially, it makes no logical sense to not bring Jerami Grant off the bench. It makes no logical sense. Alrighty. Makes no logical sense. Okay? He has not been a starting caliber player so far this season. He has not been a top 2 forward so far this season. The only person, the only spot that Grant, you could even make a case for him starting over is Shaedon Sharpe, and that's just because Shaedon Sharpe had previously been coming off the bench. If we go to Shaedon Sharpe's game log since he got reinserted into the starting lineup, I'm going to read off some numbers here for you. Okay? Sharpe has started 4 games in a row. Right? His last game off the bench, he scored 36. He played 33 minutes. Then he got reinserted into the starting lineup. Okay? In these 4 games, Shaedon Sharpe has scored 25, 18, 20, and 25 points for an average of 22 points per game. Okay? He's had an average of 3.5 assists per game while only recording 6 turnovers in that 4-game stretch. So 3.5 assists, 1.5 turnovers. That's better than the seasonal numbers. That's been an improvement. Okay? And during this stretch, Sharpe has had 2 good 3-point shooting games, 2 rough 3-point shooting games, but is shooting 9 for 26 from 3, 34.6%, a little higher than normal, right? Where he's been doing his damage is off the drive. He's been getting to the rim extremely well. He was 9 for 14 in his first start back. Had a 7 for 20 game against Cleveland. Kind of struggled a little bit there, but then the last 2 games, 8 for 17 from the field, 11 for 18 from the field. He has been extremely effective, getting to the rim at the highest rate ever. And he's been consistently aggressive, which is good to see. Consistently aggressive. The last time Sharpe shot less than 10 shot attempts was on February 3rd in 19 minutes. That was one of those games where we were criticizing Chauncey Billups' usage of him. So Sharpe lately has been more consistently aggressive, getting to his spots more consistently. Right? In the last 4 games, he's averaging, I'm literally adding up all these numbers as I go on the calculator. All right. The last 4 games, Sharpe's averaging a little over 17 field goal attempts per game. That is right where it needs to be. Right where it needs to be. He's averaging 6.5 threes. He's averaging a little more than 10 2-point attempts. He's been playing good basketball. Good basketball. Not perfect, but good basketball. His defensive intensity is a little bit better. He still struggles with some technique things, trying to get through screens. Was one thing that we talked about on last night's postgame show, but his defensive effort has been better. The only reason he was taken out of the starting lineup was because of a lack of defensive effort. So now that he's been a little better there, now that he's giving more intensity on the defensive end of the floor, and he's also playing good offensive basketball, you can't take him out of the starting lineup at this point. You can't do it. You cannot do it. And especially taking him out for Jerami Grant sends a terrible message considering Shaedon Sharpe has been better than Jerami Grant this year. He's also the future. We're not even having the conversation for the future. We're having the conversation for right now. If this team wants to seriously go on a play-in run, Jerami Grant should be coming off the bench, should be one of the main options off the bench. That's where he can get his touches, and he can try and take advantage of lesser defensive lineups and maybe get his groove back. Maybe make his numbers look a little bit better. I honestly think that might have more of an impact on his trade value going forward into next year, assuming he's back. If he can play, 25 minutes off the bench and score efficiently on a high volume off the bench, that might do more for his trade value than starting, because at this point, he's been a below average starter, and he's basically proven that almost every night out on the floor this season. So either he bounces back next year as a starter, but I think it's more likely you can make him look better bringing him off the bench. And also, how can you bench Toumani Camara or Deni Avdija for him? You can't. You can't go into next year not starting Scoot and Sharpe again as Sharpe goes into his 4th year and Scoot goes into his 3rd year. Right? So with the roster being the way it is, the easiest decision to make is to bench Jerami Grant. Now, the downside might be, you're never going to play him back into any sort of positive trade value on that contract, but that could be the case if you continue starting him anyway. He has tanked his trade value because he's started this year and been awful against starting lineups. Right? He's tanked his trade value with how many minutes he's playing and how bad his numbers are. When you look at Jerami Grant, he's playing 32 minutes a game and averaging 14 points on bad efficiency. 32 minutes a game for a starting power forward, 3.5 rebounds. 32 minutes a game, only 2 assists. It's not impressive. And it's not the type of production that teams want to pay $30 million a year for. They also don't want to pay $30 million a year for bench guys. Either way, the Blazers are completely stuck between a rock and a hard place with Jerami Grant. And at some point, they're going to have to make a tough decision. But they put themselves in the position to have to make a tough decision with Jerami Grant because they didn't trade him earlier. Because they didn't trade him for value when they could have gotten value. Because they gave him this massive 5-year, $160 million contract. So at some point, a tough decision is going to have to come. If the tough decision is bringing Jerami Grant off the bench when he returns from this injury, like I said, he's questionable tomorrow, so is Avdia. Right? If the Blazers are healthy, you got to make the tough decision to bench him. Because it's an even tougher decision to bench somebody else right now. You're not going to bench Anthony Simons and have no point guard in the starting lineup. Right? It's going to be a big point of conversation entering this offseason. What's going to be a pivotal offseason for the Portland Trail Blazers as to how they clean up their roles and the pecking order going into next season, as well as give guys more opportunity that they've earned, especially younger players. And then how do you even incorporate a draft pick into that if you draft somebody that you think can play minutes right away? I don't know. The Blazers have to figure out their pecking order. The Blazers have to figure out their rotation long term. In the short term, they're going to have to make a tough decision regarding Jerami Grant. If you bring him off the bench for a few games to end the season, the final month, that's not going to ruin a trade that would have happened in the offseason. If a team is hell-bent upon trading for Jerami Grant this offseason for whatever reason and wants his contract on the roster, they're not going to view his production this year and how he's produced as a starter and then say, you know what, we wanted to trade for that, but then he came off the bench in the final month, so we're actually not going to. The most likely scenario is Jerami Grant has no value and is in a negative contract, but if there is a team out there that is crazy and values him on this contract right now, him coming off the bench is not going to change that. If anything, he might look better off the bench and that team can talk themselves into it more. So, it would be nice to see the Blazers bring him off the bench, not make a starting lineup decision based off the price tag, not make a starting lineup decision because he has the most experience on the team, the most tenure. It would be really, really nice to see this team make a starting lineup decision based on current production. Or based on developing the young players. One or the other. The problem is, starting Jerami Grant, you're not valuing production now, you're not valuing developing for the future. So what are you valuing? The only thing you're valuing is that bad contract, man. So those are my thoughts. Jerami Grant should come off the bench when he returns. The injury report tomorrow is what sparked this conversation for me. Of course, if Avdia is out, then yeah, sure, you just replace Avdia with Jerami Grant tomorrow. They both might be out. And then you start Scoot, maybe, or see the Thunder are small. You can definitely start Scoot, Ant, and Sharp against them. That's what I would want to do. You're going to get crushed anyway by the Thunder. I mean, we all kind of know that. Elizabeth, thanks for the basketball reference help. I did not know that. That would be much more easier to read off his averages. Much more easier. Anyway, we're going to be live tomorrow with the postgame show. We're going to do a mock draft, so that should be fun. We're expecting the Blazers to lose tomorrow against the Thunder. We'll see what BetUS has them in terms of a spread line, but they're probably going to be like 10-point underdogs. If the Blazers can win tomorrow, all right, we can get excited about potential play. And if they lose, maybe they still have a miraculous chance somehow. I don't know. Also, speaking of miraculous, the Nets are up 25-5 against the Warriors. So our double downs are not looking good, man. Our double downs are not looking good. How in the world? How in the world are the Nets up 27-5 over the Warriors? You already got 9 from Cameron Johnson. Cameron Johnson is outscoring the Warriors 8 minutes into the game, 9-5. 9-5. Tyrese Martin has as many points as the Warriors right now. All right, big L there for us. Big L. Brutal. Brutal. In good news, the Bulls are up 6 against the Magic. The Blazers, assuming they lose tomorrow and the Bulls win, they'll gain a game in the tank race. At that point, the Blazers will be, I'll look it up right now. If Chicago hangs on against Orlando and the Blazers lose to the Thunder tomorrow, the Blazers will only be 2.5 games out of 8th. All right? That is still very doable to get 8th best odds. Also, Brooklyn, they might gain a game on Brooklyn. Because apparently Brooklyn is on fire right now. And the Warriors are 3 for 14 with 4 turnovers. Ugly stuff. Ugly stuff. Steph Curry, minus 20 in 8 minutes. Anyway, we'll be live with the postgame show tomorrow. We'll do a mock draft. Starcadian, I feel you, man. I feel you. Yeah, I'm out of here. Shout out to BetUS. Thank you guys for hanging out with us on the second channel. You guys mean the world. Good luck to everybody in picks against the spread. I guess we need it because 5 of us doubled down on the freaking Warriors as 11-point favorites today. Crazy stuff. All right. Out of here. Catch you next time. Catch you tomorrow night. Until then, as always, peace out. Go Blazers.